How's it going, everyone? We are entering into a new era of Pokemon TCG with Paldea Evolved. I'm Zach Lesage from the Shuffle Squad. As you can see here, we're going to be diving right into this buy list. Now, with us going over how this buy list should be, how the set review should be, all that kind of stuff, I do want to let everyone know that these opinions are of my own. If you find any cards that you'd rather be playing, these are for competitive play. As you can see, the way that I'm going to be rating cards is how many copies I believe you need to have for your playset, and maybe it will include some fringe playables and stuff like that. Also, the rating out of 5 for each card. What do I generally rate it? So in this case, we got we got Mousehold, and it's just chilling there. We're just using it as the example. Unfortunately, it's not a card that I think we should be picking up. But if I get anything wrong, let me know. By all means, give this video a like, subscribe, and hopefully you enjoy this video. Let us know what you think. So kind of starting things off, I don't want to go through a whole bunch of ones, but I am going to go over Slowking. Now, Slowking is probably the card that I'm going to be making an example out of when it comes to this sets. And I could be wrong, maybe it's not a 1. It does have its little Terra ability, the one where they prevent bench damage and stuff like that. Or at least I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Again, we are basing ourselves off of Japanese proxies. For this set review, I am going through the justinbasil.com website. If you haven't checked out their translations, it's absolutely fantastic at that site. And I really think that it works out well for me. So that's what I'm going to be going over. In this case, we have Profound Knowledge doing 30 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. Now, this is a Stage 1 Pokemon. I don't really care about confusing him with Stage 1. Confusion is not really necessarily a great ability to be having in the first place. So keep that in mind as we go through here. Confusion is just not super hot. Doing 130 for double psychic and then searching your deck for any 2 cards sounds cool. Searching your deck for cards can certainly be cool. But what does that necessarily do for us? We saw Togekiss VMAX do similar things. I just don't think Slowking is it. Triple retreat cost, 270, searching for cards in a format where Iono gets released. We'll have to see how it goes. So this is a 1, for example. I'm going to be rating a bunch of 2s, then a bunch of 3s, 4s, and then hopefully some 5s. We'll see how it all plays out. And at the end, I'm going to put the must-haves for the buy list, and then you could check the comments for the rest, or you can kind of see where this article or where this video is. You can, it's all here, and it will have everything. So save the nice screenshots that I made for yourself, or you could just kind of get the must-haves at the end. And if you want to pick up any of the other cards from here, like the Slowking, for example, or what we're going to be jumping into next, Abomasnow, we'll see. So we're going to jump into Abomasnow, the first of the 2s. So Abomasnow is really here for its ability, right? So it's one of those things where it's Catastrophic Freeze ability says Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's, cannot be healed. I think that you could use a 2-2 line here if you are trying to do anything with it. And I mean, in general, it's one of those things where Abomasnow's interesting. We could stop healing. We could stop something like Goodra from happening if we really wanted to. I generally like how this one plays out. So Abomasnow, pretty cool card. Really just trying to stop some healing. That's really the idea of what we have going through. And I'm going to go through cards alphabetical order the way that I have them as much as possible. Or by set order wherever much as possible, but it might be a little bit out of order. But we will be going order by rating. Next up, we got Belibolts. So Belibolts is interesting. I do still think it's a 2. And I think like we're okay with a 3-3 line here. If you were to run it in a deck. Like these are more of like the 2s are kind of like casting a net out there and really seeing if we decide to go with it. Jump Press doing 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemons. Whatever. 50 damage snipe is cool if we need to. But Paralyzed Ball for Lightning colorless is probably the coolest thing about this card. And that's probably why I put it as a 2. Well, not probably. It's definitely why I put it as a 2. So we can kind of infinitely make our opponent's active Pokemon paralyzed. Now, I was thinking that this would be cool, but in a set where we have, I believe Therapy Energy would get rid of this, Jet Energy. We have a bunch of decks playing Switch outs, and I don't know if the paralysis is going to stick, but in a format where it does, and we still have lightning accelerations with maybe Electric Generator or with Flaffy, this could be okay. And I mean, I'm going to put okay with asterisks because Tapu Koko VMAX is kind of the same thing, but relatively, we don't know if it's the same. Next up, we're going to jump into a trainer. So like I said, going by alphabetical order if we can. So, Calamitous Snowy Mountain. Pretty sure that name's going to change when it comes to English, by the way. I still think you need 4 copies, because Stadium cards are generally pretty good. And when I say that I think it's generally pretty good, I think it's going to see some play maybe, or it's future-proofing ourselves. So a lot of the 2s are future-proofing yourself. If you don't want to be buying this card when it becomes a couple bucks a year later, or $5 each year later, we've seen it with other stadiums, pick them up now while you can. So whenever a player attaches an energy from their hand to one of their basic non-water Pokemon, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. There's a lot of like fringe use cases, or maybe it's good in a water type deck, but I could see this card seeing some light play, hence why we put it as a 2. Could be good in the future, generally not super powerful. Gapejaw Bog is something similar that we have right now. There's another stadium, it's escaping my mind, but I think it's Old Cemetery, where you attach to a psychic Pokemon. Moving on to another stadium card that we have at 2 is Calamitous Wasteland. The retreat cost of each non-fighting basic Pokemon is colorless more. Now, I don't know which type of fighting type deck we're going to be playing this in. I'm not even sure we're going to be playing into a fighting type deck. This seems like a card that you'd play in a control deck if I've ever seen one. Now, cards like this are either going to be absolutely filthy broken in control, or it's never going to see play. Your choice. Right now, I don't necessarily think it's going to see play right away. I could be wrong, and if it does, pick up 4. If worse comes to worse, pick up 4 copies because my buy list told you to. I try to future-proof and be careful whenever possible. But if you ever need to pick up anything, like I said, at the end, I will have my must-haves list. I think the must-haves list is pretty solid, at least being close to it. It's an early set review as well, right? Like, so after playing this format at NAIC, heading into Worlds, I might chop this list in half. A lot of these cards might end up being bulk. Maybe we'll see a little bit more. We are going to move on, though, to Chi-Yu. Chi-Yu is kind of interesting when it comes down to it. It's a card that I myself said I'd be playing in like a Welder box deck if we had it in previous formats. Now, we don't have Welder in our format, which makes Chi-Yu tough. So you can discard the top 2 cards of our opponent's deck for a Fire Energy. Wow, we got options, the same way that Tyranitar can randomly deck things out. Fire is not a super popular type right now, so we got to look at it and be like, okay, does this make Fire popular? And I don't think we can get the 2 Fire Energies on to use Flame Surge to search our deck for a basic Fire and attach it to 3 of those Pokemon. Maybe in the future, again, like I said, if you're playing Expanded, this card might be really good in some kind of Welder deck, but even then, I don't even think Expanded has Welder going on. We're going to move on to another trainer, Clavell. All of you in the comments and anyone watching can see how much Pokemon lore and pronunciations I get. I'm just pretty terrible at pronouncing cards, and it's not that I'm like, hey, I'm a YouTuber. I mean, I do some videos for the Shuffle Squad right now. Used to be a full-time YouTuber. Now I'm just like, hey, you want to know what? I play the cards. Hopefully, my understanding of the translations or whatever it is just works. So search your deck for up to 3 basic Pokemon with 120 HP or less, reveal them, and put them into your hands. I think this is really deck specific, and other cards that allow us to search for 3, even things like Adventurer's Discovery. I made top 4 at a League Cup with Arctura Umbreon. That plays 3 Adventurer's Discovery. Adventurer's Discovery to me still plays as a 2. 2 might be really nice. I didn't give anything like, this would be a 1.5 card if I ever had one. I'm doing full ratings today, so Clavell caught me on a good day. I think this card could be good in the future. I think it's just very specific and not super, super great. Another card that I think might be good in the future is Dudunsparce. And the fact that this Pokemon, like, I didn't play through Scarlet and Violet, so it's one of those things, like, I couldn't get past the first screen. I'm not necessarily huge into video games anymore as I've grown older. I mean, I've been playing Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and I know I'm diving in a little bit too much for your set review, but you want to know what? It's my moment. It's my video. Hopefully y'all enjoy watching me or something. If not, that's cool too. Anyways, the Dudunsparce, interesting version of Dunsparce's evolution, as Digging Flash for 4 colorless energies, which is why it's on this list. 100 damage. Say it's your opponent for a hundo, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. You shuffle this Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your deck. Now, if they're paralyzed, they might not necessarily be able to do anything, and we've seen Acceligor decks of the past. An Acceligor deck literally won the World Championships by flipping into Trev. We might be able to put this into a Klefki. We could put this into a whatever, like some kind of lock type Pokemon would be sick. If we have a way to control the damage, with, like, let's say Poison or Meowscarada EX or something like that, I do think Dudunsparce has an opportunity. Until then, I think it's probably just going to sit in the back. Here you get to see Zach bringing out his Francais. We got Fighting... Let me double check this. Fighting Au Lait. So I guess it's Fight Milk, something like that. It's supposed to be... Anyways, whatever. You can play this card if you're behind on prize cards. Your opponent would have... you'd have more prize cards remaining than your opponent's. You heal 60 damage from one of your Pokemon. Again, I think that this could be good in a control, kind of tank control deck. And right now, I don't know if we necessarily have those. The format's a little bit new. And that's kind of where I'm at. I think if in the right deck, this card is hot. The same way that I was playing just random healing cards like Lucky Ice Pop in my Stonjourner deck testing for Worlds last year. I didn't pull the trigger on Stonjourner, but it was pretty good in the mix of things. That being said, here's another card that might heal a little bit. We have Garganacl? Garganacl? Again, really tough to pronounce. And as you can see, like, I haven't necessarily been saying the needs, but this is a 4/4/4 if I ever saw one. Might be 4/3/4 or something like that because you could play Rare Candy, but usually maybe not. During Pokemon Checkup, heal 20 damage from each of your Pokemon. With 4 of these, you could heal 80 from each of your Pokemon. Put this with a few of those Fighting Au Lait, some Pokemon Center Lady, some other healing-ish, maybe a Champs Festival if you're feeling like you're ballin'. If you got that $400 card at the time. Something like this could be cool in a control-ish deck. Not sure entirely how much success it's going to see, but we will see. Again, I think it has control elements. It's a 2 out of 5. There's a lot of 2 out of 5s, but it's still a 2 out of 5. Grusha, new card here. Draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. If you have no energy cards attached to any of your Pokemon, drop the 7 cards. I do think that it's one of those things where we have opportunities here to draw extra cards, especially like drawing until you have up to 7 is kind of sick, kind of like Lily that we had in previous formats. If your deck does not play a lot of energies, if your deck is control and plays no energies, stuff like that, Grusha might be the best supporter card for your deck. I think it's cool. Not entirely sure how I entirely feel about it, but that's why it's a 2 out of 5. It might end up being a 4 out of 5 in the right deck. It could be a 5 out of 5 in the right deck, but 2 out of 5 overall. I know we're kind of breezing through things, but I know that these lists, I don't need to be sitting here and talking about every little card. And here we have a card that's only one of Noivern. Noivern, to me, seems like it's pretty interesting, maybe in a Regidrago deck. And that's really the reason why I say 1, not a 1/1, because you can see I'm including the other lines, and on the list that I'll include in the comments here, if you're watching on YouTube, the Shuffle Squad's YouTube, that is, I should say that you can see exactly what the lines are. If there's like a, well, Garganacl, for example, it includes the Nacli or whatever. It includes the Pokemon that you're supposed to evolve from on the list. Noivern does not include a Pokemon because we're trying to discard it with Regidrago V-Star, copy the attack. So you can prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. That's pretty cool in a Regidrago V-Star deck. 140 damage during your opponent's next turn. They can't play any special energies or stadium cards from their hand. This card has the makings of a really cool card. We'll see how good it ends up being. Not entirely sure still. Another card that I have that's at number 2, and we have a lot of cards at number 2. Orthworm. And yeah, I'm pronouncing that one right, I hope. Orthworm. Earthworm? It's an Earthworm Pokemon, I think. If this Pokemon has 3 or more metal energies attached to it, it gets plus 100 HP, putting it up to 230. That's pretty beefy. 4 colorless energies, 100 damage. It says 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. I think that this could be cool in the right deck. And that's why I probably put it at number 2. 230 is a sick amount of HP for a single prize card basic Pokemon. And 130 and then 30 to the bench seems like it could be okay. I don't want to say I want to play this in Lost Zone box, because that sounds pretty bad, but it sounds okay at the same time. This card's a 2. I didn't give it a 3. I think this card's like semi-playable. So a lot of these 2s are semi-playables until they are fully playable. Speaking about another one, we got Paldean Clodsire. So I want to pick up a 3-3 line of this one. And when I say I want to pick up a 3-3, I'm not sure if I'm even going to pick this up. A lot of these cards I'm not going to be picking up. If they're 2s or 3s, a lot of the cards I'm picking up are 4s and 5s. There might be a 1 of a 2 or a 3 that I might put in my main collection, just because I think they might be solid text for the format. But again, every single deck has its moment. Kind of have like a tier 3 deck has an opportunity to see success in any given metagame. Has to be the right metagame though. So Paldean Clodsire says, once during your turn, if there's a stadium in play, you could leave your opponent's active Pokemon poison. So remember what I was saying about Dudunsparce? We might be able to control some damage with poison, so we knock them out in between turns. That's really all I'm looking at this card for, is just poisoning our opponent's Pokemon. Not sure if there's any other great ways to be doing it, but it seems good enough that maybe we want to poison something in the future. Not sure entirely, but maybe in the future. Moving on, we got Pikachu. And you might be like, yo, Zach, you're definitely tripping on this one. There's no way this is good. We do 220 with this Pokemon, and if Tails, you could discard all energies. I think this could work in a lightning-based deck with Flaffy, Electric Generator, and it's an EX Pokemon, but 220 is kind of a magic number to knock out Pokemon V, Pokemon EX Basics. And we can do 220. We have free retreat cost. So we got some things going on here that seem correct with Pikachu. Not too much else beyond just needing a 1-of for random lightning type decks, but it's also probably just good to have in your deck. No complaints there at all. Another card that we have that's a 2-of is Practice Studio. Now, Practice Studio says the attacks of each player's stage 1 Pokemon, evolution Pokemon, do 10 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So a stage 1 evolution Pokemon doing 10 more damage to your opponent's active. Maybe that plus 10 damage is all you need for the certain deck. I don't know if it's enough, the same way that we've seen Vitality Band sometimes. It's sometimes enough. In this case, I'm not sure if it's enough, but we'll see how it goes. Now, this is another, we're getting back to the names that are going to be tough for your boy to pronounce. We got Saguaro, heal 50 damage from up to 2 of your Pokemon. Now, we've seen healing of Professor Center Lady, we've seen healing from Cook, and those are 60 and all special conditions, or 70. 50 from up to 2 of your Pokemon can be interesting enough to make this work. I think it needs to be in the right deck. Maybe a control deck again. A lot of these cards are control, comeback, mechanic-y, stuff like that, but we'll see how they end up working. Overall, I think Saguaro healing from a Pokemon sounds kind of cool. And I really don't dislike it at all. I think it sounds like there's something going on here. It's like half cooked though, so we gotta let them cook a little bit more. Shinx. Now, Shinx is an interesting card on this list. In this, this almost got a 3. Its ability Loud Howl says once during your turn, if this Pokemon's in the active spot, you may have your opponent switch their active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon. Now, if you're switching with their bench Pokemon, we have a way to kind of like half gust. So after something's knocked out in like a Lost Zone box deck, for example, we might want to use Shinx to knock out a correct Pokemon. I don't know if it's always correct. Again, this is a 2 out of 5, but we have seen how cards like this do sometimes work to give yourself that half escape rope, that half gust on your opponent. So Shinx has some playability here. Not sure how Shinx is going to fare out across the board, but it seems cool enough. Skeledirge, Skella something. Vitality Song does 50 damage, heal 30 damage from each of your Pokemon. So that gives us some opportunities to be okay against Lost Zone Box. Originally, I thought this card might lose to Lost Zone Box, and the reason why it's even on the list at a 2 out of 5, I think there's some opportunities to see success here. Doing 270 damage and you do -10 for each damage counter on this Pokemon for its second attack is big enough where if we put a Choice Belt on it, or a Vitality Band, or something, Defiant Band maybe, we need some way we can knock out 280 HP Pokemon with relative ease. The 50 damage could be sick against a Lost Zone box deck, healing a bunch of damage, maybe even pair this with Radiant Serena. We got some things going on. This card's half cooking, 340 HP doing 270 is not bad, but it's also not a 5. We're going to jump into Therapy Energy. It might be Therapeutic Energy in English. I'm not entirely sure. But it provides colorless energy. This Pokemon can't be asleep, confused, or paralyzed. And if it's affected by one of those, you can immediately remove it. One of the reasons why Dudunsparce might not be good. One of the reasons why Articuno might not be great in Lost Unbox. There's a lot of opportunities here where this is cool. The reason why I put 4 of it's currently great with Archeops. So you could accelerate energies in Lugia. Or you might find random occurrences where having a single therapeutic energy wins you a certain matchup because of special conditions being lit at that time. So something with therapy energy or therapeutic energy, whatever it gets translated to in English, seems okay. Not the best energy, but in the right circumstance, it's game-winning card. So moving on, we also have Wigglytuff. Now, how could I have therapy energy without Wigglytuff? Wigglytuff says once during your turn, you may attach one of those energies from your hand to one of your Pokemon. Maybe this is a great way to accelerate the right amount of energies, or maybe it's the meme or dream kind of energy acceleration that we're not looking for. I decided to put it there as a 2 out of 5, just cause I think it might have a chance. Got Wings of Unity here. I put 444, and the cards that I'm talking about here are Murkrow, Wattrel, and Flamigo. These Pokemon have the 20 damage for the amount of Pokemon with Wings of Unity or Unity Wings in your discard pile. I think this is, I think it's kind of a mid deck. Seems really fun, and we see a few of these like Lost March, Night March. We've seen a few of these kind of decks in the past, and do they see success sometimes? Yeah, they're like half okay. Are they the best? Not overly. Sometimes they're a little bit better than others, like Night March was legitimately very good for a while. Is this something that we're going to see in the future? I'm not sure. I think we need a little bit more for this deck. Maybe a few more of these Pokemon will be released in other sets, making this archetype busted. Maybe it's just going to be a kind of fun deck to play around with your friends. We'll have to find out. Moving into the last number 2 is Wo-Chien. EX. So live Wo-Chien reaction, right? And I know I'm trying to be literally just memeing here, but that's okay. I'm trying to keep it fun and not boring, and hopefully you enjoy this. So we're literally looking at this card because it's probably a cool tech in a grass deck. You can do 60 damage to one of your opponent's bench for each prize card your opponent has taken. If they take in 5 prize cards, which is literally only one before they win the game, you could snipe something for 300 damage. Maybe that's enough to win the game. Or you do 220 for 4. If there's a deck that accelerates grass energies, that's sick. I think we might have a spot here. Not sure at all. Now we're about halfway through this list right now, just to give everyone a heads up. Pretty close to halfway through this list. We're about to go into the number 3s, a little bit of number 3s, less number 4s, very little number 5s. Jumping into our number 3 list is Artazon. Artazon is a new stadium. I was about to say supporter, but I'm going to go with stadium. Once during each player's turn, that player may search their deck for a basic Pokemon that doesn't have a rule box, put it on their bench, then that player shuffles their deck. I think cards like this typically end up being pretty okay. I want to say that Bricklet Hill is kind of the last example that I can think of a card like this. So searching for a basic Pokemon is always good. We could search our deck for a Comfey in a Lost Unbox deck if you're not playing Kyogre and you don't need to play Pokestop. Or maybe we play one of both. I think that Artazon has opportunities to be pretty successful. Hopefully it ends up being successful. But overall, I think it's a solid supporter, making decks a little bit more consistent. I don't hate it. We got Charm of Courage. And I think on Justin Basil, they have it as Bravery Charm. I think it's Charm of Courage. I could be wrong. The basic Pokemon this card is attached to gets plus 50 HP. I think we've seen Cape of Toughness see some success before. I'd probably put Cape of Toughness as a 3 out of 5 as well. This we can attach to the Drifloon from Scarlet Violet. Give it plus 50. Build up some energies with Gardevoir EX's Psychic Embrace. Do some damage. Heal 10 off with Champions Festival or some other method. And really try to do 330 damage with Drifloon, a single prize card attacker. That's just one small reason that we could play this card. Maybe we want to slap this down on a Miraidon EX. And it's a basic, right? And then giving it 270 HP sounds sick. Or 280, whatever it has. Cards like this are generally pretty good. They're not like super great, but you probably just don't want a couple of them. Another card that is going to be on this list is Forretress EX. I think Forretress has some potential. Maybe I should have put this card at number 2. But we're being nice to Forretress today. You caught Zach on a good day. This could change. Like I said, it's probably a 2.5. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 5 basic grass energies. Attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. Then you could shuffle your deck. If you search your deck in this way, this Pokemon is knocked out. So you might be like, it sucks to get knocked out. But with cards like Iono coming back, Reversal Energies, and maybe we'll get those later on in this list. We'll find out, no leaks. It's one of those things where 5 grass energies, acceleration, putting myself behind on prize cards, especially in a thing, like you could play Roxanne with this card. We have ways to manipulate our prize cards with Forretress legally. We have ways to accelerate energies legally. Forretress EX seems like it could be good. Is this card's going to be broken with Wo-Chien? I'm not sure. I think we could attach it, like we could attach to any Pokemon, not just grass Pokemon. So it just has to be basic grass energies. The sky's the limit. That's just releasing. It's one of those things where we'll have to see how it plays out. But Forretress EX overall, super, super, super cool card. Maybe too cool for its own good. We're going to go into another one of these hard to pronounce supporter names. Giacomo, however it's pronounced. I'm sure I'm butchering it at least 2 out of 3 times. Discard a special energy from each of your opponent's Pokemon. Energy discarding is usually pretty lit when it comes to Pokemon, whether it's in a control deck, maybe it's a one-of in an aggressive deck. We have opportunities here to make some sick plays. Discarding one from each of your opponent's Pokemon definitely seems like it has some control capabilities. Maybe it will end up working that way. We're going to go with our first reprint card of this list. There might be a few. This set does contain quite a few reprints, at least in the trainer energy, or the trainer department. Great Ball allows us to look at the top 7 cards of our deck. You may reveal a Pokemon you find there and put it into your hands. So the reason why I'm putting us on this list is if you're new and you don't have Great Balls, you can pick them up. Pick up 4. If you are a legacy player, and what I mean by that is, like, have you been playing Pokemon for a few years? Maybe you got some Great Balls from a previous set. This card's been printed out the butts. Lots of Great Balls exist in our formats. For me, I typically only play the newest card copies of each ones. I like the silver borders. I like the new art. I like to keep my collection fresh. And I put everything away towards an expanded format, or I sell it to my favorite card store or anything else like that. However it works, I think that Great Ball is a good pickup. Not the greatest card, but sometimes it does see some rare success. So I'm putting it at a 3 out of 5. Right now we only have Capturing Aroma, Ultra Ball in our format, really to be searching things out. Great Ball could be good. It's actually a viable choice in Lugia. I think there's some options here. We got Luminous Energy. Now, Luminous Energy is, I think it's probably a solid 3. I was debating putting it as a 2 just to give everyone a heads up, but I think it's a 3 out of 5. As long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides every type of energy, but only provides 1 energy at a time. If the Pokemon has any other special energies attached to it, this card provides colorless energy instead. So we got some wiggle room when it comes to this card, and maybe we want to play it in the right deck, but you only really want to be playing it without special energies. So it's like not great in Lugia, but maybe it would be okay in Regigigas to bring it back. Maybe it'd be okay in some random decks that plays a bunch of 2 of energies. I mean, there's got to be a purpose for this card in the future. It's a little hard to play. But we don't have Aurora Energy, we don't have Rainbow Energy, we don't have a lot of these multicolored energies that we've had from previous formats. So I think something like this does seem like it could see success. Moving on to another EX Pokemon. I know we're kind of jumping around, and I was gonna go based off of typing and stuff like that. I decided let's just go based off of rating to keep everything pretty in line. Meowscarada EX, I covered this recently on the Shuffle Squad as a Lost Zone box deck. Thought about it a little bit after, and I think that might not necessarily super sick, but it has some opportunities there. You get to discard a grass energy from your hands, and you choose one of your opponent's bench Pokemon and put 3 damage counters on its ability. Kind of gives me Decidueye GX vibes. Little Zach history is 2017 Worlds. Day 1, I was able to make it to Day 2 of Worlds by going undefeated with Decidueye GX. I had a few ties in there, but Decidueye GX with Vileplume worked out really well for me to kind of ping some damage, place things around, do what I wanted there, take multiple prize cards. It was sick. You do 100 plus another 120 if they have any damage counters on them. So we have ways to place damage counters around. Maybe we get a little bit of Hawlucha from Scarlet Violet, Radiant Alakazam from Silver Tempest action going on here. Would be sick. This card's got potential. I don't want to say it's great, but it's got potential. This card might actually be a little bit low. Normally I say things are a little bit high, but Mimikyu has Safeguard. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon EX and Pokemon V. So similar to what we had in previous formats with Decidueye and Miltank, Safeguard Pokemon typically do pretty good, considerably in control decks for what it's worth. And we're not really going to be attacking. We could put 7 damage counters on our opponent's active Pokemon. Maybe we'll attack with it. But we could just block some attacks. I think Mimikyu's got some options here. And as we see more EX Pokemon getting printed, it might be difficult for them to deal with Mimikyu. The one thing that's about EX is if they are evolution Pokemon, they naturally have built-in non-EX Pokemon to evolve from. So for example, Meowscarada evolves from Florigato and Sprigatito, so those could always attack the Mimikyu, where something like Ting-Lu EX cannot attack Mimikyu. So evolution Pokemon do have some mechanics around this. Might be something to take note of. It might make this card better or worse. One card that we have is Oricorio, so I put Oricorio on the list. I originally thought I put this as a number 2, but I guess I put it at a number 3. Once during your turn, you can heal 20 damage from your active evolution Pokemon. So I know how in Lugia V-Star against Lost Zone Box, they use Radiant, Serena, and Heal, and it sucks. I just think in other decks, like having Heal 20 is huge. Having damage reduction, damage healing can be sick. So I think having a couple copies is cool. Maybe you only need one. One might be more of the realistic copy, but I could see a world where we play a couple Oricorios against a really tanky deck. Remember how I brought up that Garganacl that was a 2 out of 5? Imagine having 4 Garganacls and 2 Oricorios in play, and you're healing 120 off the active every single turn. And then you have a Champions Festival in play, and then you're healing 130 off of your active every single turn. There are some cards that are just sick at healing damage. This might be one of them, and I think Big Heal might be a new archetype. Maybe not, just throwing it out there. Pelipper is another card that I think, this card's either too low or too high. Rumor of the Wind ability. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may either search your deck for a supporter card, reveal it, or put it into your hands, shuffle your deck, or put a supporter card from your discard pile into your hand. So you get to search your deck or grab a supporter from your discard pile. So supporter from deck, supporter from discard. We have some ways to really make our decks more consistent or get back multiple supporters. In formats where we had VS Seeker legal, we played a lot of one-of supporters. I could maybe see a Pelipper engine where we can maybe use multiple supporters and get them back, or just make our deck more consistent. Got some cool things going on here with this card. It's probably like a 2.5 out of 3, or 2.5 out of 5. Maybe it's a 4 out of 5. We'll have to find out and see how the format shapes up, but I think it's kind of cool. We're going to go with Ting-Lu EX. Now, Ting-Lu EX, one of the more hyped cards from the sets. I'm not sure how great it is, but I do think it's cool. I think you need 4 because it's probably its own deck. And as long as this Pokemon's in your active spot, your opponent's Pokemon that have any damage counters on them have no abilities except for Pokemon EX. So we could shut off our opponent's Baxcalibur, we could shut off their Comfey, and then we could power it up with Koraidon EX or Gutsy Pickaxe, 150 damage, put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. I posted up a deck profile on the Shuffle Squad YouTube, so check that out if you haven't already. That probably gives you more of my ideas of where this deck could be. Probably not the greatest deck in formats, but definitely has its opportunities to see some success. It's definitely a 3 to 5 ability if I've ever seen one. That was our last 3 to 5, by the way. We're going to move on to our 4s. There's a lot less of these, so we're going to kick it off with Baxcalibur. I think Baxcalibur is lit. It is sick. Baxcalibur, he is him. They are they. Baxcalibur is lit. So as often as you like during your turn, you may attach a basic water energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. This is really a means to an end to power up stuff up. So we saw that Pokemon, Chien-Pao, we could accelerate energies to it. Maybe that card will be on this list. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, foreshadowing. Maybe it won't, but powering things up is really cool. Blastoise, I believe from Boundaries Crossed, it saw a lot of success at Worlds. It saw a lot of success at Regionals. this is the exact same card spiritually reprinted with a little bit more buffs for the formats. It might not be sick right away. It's definitely a really sick card, though. Speaking about Chien-Pao, boom, got it. Gotcha. I tricked y'all. Chien-Pao EX. Ability, Trembling Frost. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may search your deck for up to 2 basic water energies, reveal them to your opponent, and put them into your hands. Don't forget to shuffle your deck. I think something like this, just having in the active, fetching out a couple waters is sick. We lost Capacious Bucket. Energy Search is probably not great in a deck like this, and just being able to search out energies out of our deck sounds fantastic. We have a way to fetch, and doing 60 times the amount of water energies you discard from your Pokemon sounds insane. Baxcalibur's Dream, Origin Form Palkia V-Star. We got a lot of cool things going on. It's a basic Pokemon. Like, this card looks sick. It plays out sick. It might end up being more like Water-type Miraidon at first, but I think as the format grows, and Lost Zone Box doesn't necessarily gatekeep everything out of the formats, this deck might have a chance to shine, and it still might have a chance to shine. I think we're going to see a few of these at NAIC, and they might do a little bit better than people think. We're going to move on to another energy here, Jet Energy. Jet Energy says, as long as this card's attached to a Pokemon, it provides colorless energy. Pretty simple, the picture shows colorless energy. When you attach this card from your hand to one of your bench Pokemon, switch that Pokemon with your active Pokemon. So in a lot of Lost Zone Box decks, we have opportunities to accelerate energies, or we have a lot of opportunities to move to the active, use flower selecting, whatever. Like, Jet Energy gives us that mobility that we want. It also works as kind of like a faux switch or escape rope in a lot of decks. We can get out of special conditions. We can reset a Mew VMAX. Not to say that I want to play this in Mew VMAX, but we can reset an attack that we did and use it again because we switched over to the bench. So I think it's cool. Another energy that we got is Reversal Energy. Now, Reversal Energy says it provides colorless energy as it's attached to anyone. If you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent, and if this card's attached to an evolution Pokemon that doesn't have a rule box, this card provides every type of energy, but provides 3 energy at a time. I'm sure there's got to be a lot of cool cards that we can attach this to, but in my gut, I feel like this is a really good Gardevoir card, or a really good Luxray card, and we'll jump into those. Maybe Gardevoir we already have. Luxray might be on this list. Shh, no leaks. We could really just having triple rainbow energies on something is very good. It's not bad. Think about that when we go through things like triple rainbow energies with a single attachment can jump back into games. So if you're behind a game, this might be a comeback mechanic card. I think it has opportunities. I don't know if you need 4 in every deck, but I think there might be a future where you might need 4. We'll find out. But I think it's pretty cool. We only have 3 more 4s, so we're going to jump into Luxray. Again, gotcha. I told you it might not be on the list, but it's on the list as the next card. I control how this works because it's funny. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in your hand and you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent's, you may play this card onto your bench. Remember how they said that there's going to be some comeback from behind cards? Luxray is definitely one of those cards. So we could do that, play it down, summon it from our hands as a Stage 2 unevolved Pokemon. We got Lightning, Colorless, Wild Charge 180. This Pokemon does 22 itself. I think this is a great tech if you're trying to try to take advantage of something that's weak to Lightning, or if you want to have a Pokemon with a decent bit of HP, or if 180 damage is sick. You could use this with Reversal Energy, you could use this with Mirage Gates, you could use this in a lot of ways. Luxray has some opportunities to just be good. Another one of these 4-ofs, or 4 rating, you only need a couple of these ones. Spiritomb. So if you thought the designers have stopped hating on Mew VMAX, you'd be surprised. In this case, they're not hitting on Mew VMAX, but they're hitting on Genesect. So we got Drapion. Like, Drapion Spiritomb is a double wombo combo to really hit on our opponent's Mew VMAX deck. So as long as Pokemon's play, basic Pokemon and V in play have no abilities, both yours and your opponent. We could shut off Genesect. We could shut off a lot of random stuff. Lumineon. Remember, this is not Evolution V Pokemon, so no V-Star, no V-Max, no V-Unions, no EX Pokemon either. So we got some cool things going on. We have Fade Out, 10 damage. Put this Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your hand. So a really interesting attack there if you ever want to get it off of our bench. We see how Psychic Leap works in a Mew deck in a different way than the way that we'd be using this against a Mew VMAX deck, but 10 bringing it back to your hand sounds pretty cool, if you had to ask me. I think Spiritomb's going to see some play, especially in metagames where there are Mews. Now, we are about to go into our last number 4, and then we're going to be going into 5s. Just to give you a heads up, there's going to be 4 number 5s, but this is the last number 4. We need 2 Squawkabilly EX. So Squawkabilly, and I just love the way that the card's called. Squawkabilly is such a funny name to me. Once during your turn, you may discard and draw 6 cards. You can't use more than 1 show-off per turn. I also believe you need to use this on the first turn of the game. Your first turn of the game, that is. So this can chill on your bench. You could use Squawkabilly, pitch your hand, draw 6. I think this card has some use, especially in decks that are running double Lumineon, decks that might want to discard cards. So things like Ting-Lu might want to discard Fighting Energies for their Koraidon. Things like Lugia might want to discard Archeops to summon with Lugia V-Star. We also have colorless like Up, doing 20 damage. Attach up to 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile to 1 of your bench Pokemon. I think this is a pretty interesting card overall. Similar to Dedenne GX, Crobat V, Lumineon, Eldegoss, cards like that we might want to play down. I think Squawkabilly has some cool things going on. We're going to jump into our first number 5. And we have Boss. Boss's Orders. Boss's Orders is a sick number 5 because it's Boss's Orders. Why would we not be playing Boss's Orders? I think Boss's Orders has a bunch of cool stuff going on. Bring up whichever Pokemon you like on your opponent's bench. I know it is a reprint. For sure I know it is a reprint. But why would we not be playing this? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things like, every deck plays Boss. There might be a format where Boss is not in the formats. So we'll go from there. If Boss is in the formats, we'll see how it goes. But right now, I think Boss is just absolutely one of the best cards we've ever seen, and I think it's going to see a lot of play. If you don't have Boss already, I think it's something where you just want to play more Boss in your deck. You might want to pick up some more Boss. This is also the first Silver Boss that we have in our format. I know I'm just going on and on about Boss, but to me this is really solid in general. So yeah, play Boss. Boss is good. Pick up new Boss. There's a new Full Art Boss. I think that sounds really cool too. Boss seems very good. We're going to jump into another one. We have, I'm just kind of pulling it up here, Choice Belts. Choice Belt is another one of these reprint cards, and I think Choice Belts providing extra 30 damage against your opponent's Pokemon V sounds quite good if you had to ask me. We also get Silver Border Choice Belts, so while it's not necessarily going to be good against EX Pokemon, we still have a lot of V Pokemon in our formats, and it's still very successful. And I believe this does allow it to remain in our format. As you can see, it's a G block regulation. So as we get these G block cards in our formats, I do think we are going to see more success. We are going to see like cards like this continue to see success in the format in general. So keep that in mind as we kind of go through the set and stuff like that. I think. I think it seems pretty good. Choice Belt's obviously just going to be a good card. I think you need 3 of them. I've never seen a deck that plays 4 Choice Belt. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I have seen a deck that plays 4 Choice Belts. I'm not I'm not at liberty to say if I have or haven't otherwise. But I think this is a really one of those cool cards. We're gonna jump on to another one of these. Now, the next one that we have up that's a 5, and I promise they're not all reprints, but some of them are reprints, is going to be Super Rod. Oh, you want to know what? I'm looking here. I did put, yeah, there's Super Rod. Sweet. I did find it. We found the Super Rod. That's going to be sick. We need only a couple copies of this. I could see a world where you maybe need to play 2 Super Rods. I think Super Rod has some opportunities to see some success, but we're in a format where we don't have a lot of recovery, and I'm kind of worried about the lack of recovery that we have in our formats. So as I look into it, I think that we really want to just like have some recovery. We can recover whatever Pokemon we want, whichever energies we want. In our current format, we have Miriam, right? Or we have Clara. So Clara gets it back to our hands. And Clara is not necessarily what we're looking for. I think Clara is, it works, but it might not necessarily be what we're looking for. So, when it comes down to it, this card allows us to play another supporter. It allows us to grab some other cards back. We have the power of choice here. And I guess that's what I'm trying to kind of convey, get across, is that we have the power of choice. So, Super Rod, definitely one of those cards that we want to be playing into our deck. Now, we are going to go, we have, like I said, I think there's 2 cards left. We're going to jump into Superior Energy Retrieval. Now, I might be wrong here by putting this at a 5, and I said I need 5. You definitely need 4 when it comes down to it. So don't play 5. Not every list is going to be without its graphical mistakes. You're definitely going to need 4 of these. So it's one of those things where you want to what while I'm saying this, I'm gonna update it in real time. That's how much it's bothering me. You only need 4 copies of this card. So when it comes down to it, we're gonna switch it up to the one that is 4 copies. There we go. Zach can fix things in real time while he is editing and recording the video. So pitching 2 cards, grabbing at 4 energies, basic energies from your hands, it works, and this card's seen success in previous formats. I don't know if it's going to see success in every deck, and maybe, like I said, maybe this card needs to be a 4, maybe it needs to be a 3. Today I put it at a 5 out of 5. I think it's a sick card. I mean, I really like the Blastoise deck from previous formats, so maybe that's why, but we gave it a 5 out of 5. Now, we're at the best card into our sets, and we're gonna go over and talk about that in 1 second. What is the best card that we have in our sets? Does anyone have any guesses? Put them in the comments below, because I think it's one of those things where you should definitely take a stab at the best card in the set. Any guesses? Anyone have anything that they want to go over? We have Iono. Iono is the best card in the sets. By far, it's the best card in the sets. I think Iono, being able to... let me explain Iono. So it's kind of like a Marnie and an N had a baby, and it was Litz. Each player shuffles their hand and puts it at the bottom of their deck. Then each player draws a card for each of the remaining prize cards. So if you're at the beginning of the game and you both have 6, you both gotta shuffle, put towards the bottom. It's not a true shuffle draw, but it's shuffle, put to the bottom, draw 6. If you have 4 prize cards left and your opponent has 1, and you're trying to make a comeback in that game, might be sick to, shuffle you tell your opponent, shuffle your hand to your bottom of your deck, draw 1 card, I'm gonna draw 4. And maybe that 1 card holds them off for a couple turns and you're able to win the game. We'll have to see how that goes, but I think Iono is the best card in the deck, or in the set. It's probably the best card in your deck as well. Best card, format altering, deck altering. Almost every deck is going to be playing this. If not, it might not have necessarily played too many supporters like Lost Zone Box. Even then, it still might play this. But that's what we got going on for the set review. Now, I did put together a nice little thing at the end of the buy list. So, buy list, must-haves. We're going to put here. You could kind of screenshot this. So you can see what's good and what's not in this set. And you can see how Zach can misspell Frigiback sometimes as I'm going through here. Hopefully you all enjoy kind of going through the sets. I will have everything available in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube. If not, it's going to be the Shuffle Squad Hangout Discord. You can check us out on Patreon or any other ways that you might be able to subscribe to us or promote our membership. Usually we have an option for our Discord. But I thought this list would be a pretty easy way to just kind of go through and be like, I'm going to my local game store, or what does Zach think is really cool? I think this is really cool. So that's what we got going on for this video today. Did I get them all right? Did I miss a card? Did I put a card too high, too low? Anything else like that? Let me know. Totally would love to hear some feedback on this. Let me know if you like this style of video. I think it does a pretty good job at showcasing it in a pretty way. I think it looks pretty aesthetically pleasing, but I'm always looking for suggestions. So hopefully you enjoyed watching, and we'll catch up with y'all soon. This is Zach Lesage from the Shuffle Squad. Enjoy Paldea Evolved release, and hopefully you either pull these from your packs or you get a little bit more going on with it. I'll catch up with all y'all next time. Peace out. Have a great one. The Shuffle Squad proudly uses Ultimate Guard products. We think that their Cortex and Katana sleeves are absolutely fantastic with to play in tournaments. And of course, they have a wide range of products that are simply fantastic. Whether you're looking for a new binder, playmat, Or if you're looking for one of the Sidewinder deck boxes you might have seen one of us play with, be sure to check it out. They have their EU web shop, and it's available on Amazon elsewhere. Head on over to atlascollectibles.com and support the Shuffle Squad by buying some of their products. You could get a discount of 6% off of Pokemon TCG booster boxes, so you could grab from a large selection of sealed product, save 6%, or you could save 12% by using code TSS12 on all of their Pokemon TCG singles. Atlas has a large selection and ships worldwide, so be sure to pick up your Pokemon products there. Use code TSS5 at ptcgostore.com to save 5% off your order of Pokemon TCG live codes. They have a great selection of codes available from all different sets at competitive rates. They get instantly emailed to you, so you can use them right away to get all the cards you need to build that next great deck creation. Again, use code TSS5 to save 5% off at ptcgostore.com. Have you ever wanted more content from the Shuffle Squad? Well, we do have a Patreon account. You can support the Shuffle Squad directly by pledging towards our content, whether you want to get access to a special discount code from one of our sponsors, or if you want to have access to all of our deck lists, exclusive Pokemon TCG articles, and more. You can even chat with the Shuffle Squad in Discord. So this really does help support the Shuffle Squad getting to more events, and we do have some amazing articles for you to learn more about. Be sure to sign up to play in the Shuffle Squad's late night events. They happen every single Tuesday night at 12 p.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. Eastern. We have one that's geared towards more of an EU time zone and an NA time zone, but anyone's welcome to play. There's an opportunity to win a trip to Japan for the World Championships, so by all means, feel free to participate in these events for free. You could check out any of the links that we have available in the description. Get coaching from the Shuffle Squad on Metafy. If you want to improve your game on Pokemon TCG, you can absolutely test with the best. We have some of the best players in the world on our team. So whether you want to get coaching from Calvin or our current EUIC champion, Alex Szymanski, or anyone else that's available on Metafy from the Shuffle Squad, pick up some coaching today, become the best player you can be. Thank you so much for supporting the Shuffle Squad by watching this video. It would mean the world to us if you'd like this video, subscribe to the channel, and maybe even leave a comment. You can also click on this other video from the Shuffle Squad to continuously watch and support us. If you haven't got a chance, check out the description to learn more about our sponsors, and that could also help support the Shuffle Squad. Thanks so much for watching. Have yourself a great one.